Hello, dear students. Sorry for the inconvenience that is caused to you people, but we have to start our session again from the very first chapter because we people are getting the books with the course that is Cyber Means Computer Applications. So from this book, I am going to start with our first session, and this book we are going to follow for the rest of the session. All right, so dear students, try to cooperate with me because it's our first chapter that we are going to start from this book. So students, I hope you can understand because that time the books were not available to us, so I was taking the chapters from the previous year 9th class book, but now the books is provided with the you people, and the book is also available to me also, so that's why I am going to shoot the videos again from the very first chapter. So from now onwards you just follow this book only, and the notes of this book only you have to follow. Although you have completed, you have many of you have completed the notes in the copy, but no problem, leave that notes like that only. Now onwards I am going to give you the new notes from this new book, then you just go through with these notes. All right children, I hope you can understand this thing because this is a little inconvenience that is caused because of the lockdown as the non availability of the course. So let's begin with the new session, with a new chapter and with a new book. All right, dear students. Okay, so our first unit is Basics of Information Technology, in which we are going to discuss our first chapter, that is Computer System. All right, Computer System. The increasing use of information technology in our life has resulted in a new and improved way of thinking, living, and working. This you all know. Earlier, computers were used mostly by the scientists and engineers for complex calculations and operations. Nowadays, a computer is very affordable and with the reach of most of the people. It has virtually turned out to be necessary in banks, hospitals, railways, shopping complexes, etc. In fact, we would be appropriate to say that life is without a computer is hard to be imagined. So children, this thing you all know that earlier the computers were used by the scientists only, but nowadays computers are becoming cheaper and they can be affordable by many of us. So even we can consider that mobile phone is also a kind of computer in which we are going to perform many of the daily tasks. So we can say that life without computer seems to be unimaginable. We cannot imagine a life without computer system. Alright, what is a computer? The word computer is derived from compute, which means to calculate. A computer is an electronic device that can perform a variety of tasks by executing a given set of instructions. For example, like whatever instructions we are giving to computer, the computer follow it and give the output as per our requirement. The acronym of computer, that means the full form is computer, is common oriented machine, particularly used for trade and educational research. Now let us discuss the characteristics of a computer, or we can say the features or the strength of a computer. One of the major strength of computer is speed. Yes, speed of the computer is much more than as we can assume. It works in milliseconds, or we can say nanosecond. That means 9 times a second. So accuracy is in addition to speed. Computer performs tasks very great accuracy. That means the speed of the computer is very fast and it also provides the results with a 100% accuracy. That means the results provided by the computer is 100% accurate and errorless. Reliability, a computer is more reliable than a human being. That means we can trust on a computer and the computer will never get bored and tired of doing a repetitive task again and again, like we people used to get tired. Storage capacity, a computer can store a large amount of data in its memory in the form of documents, graphics, sounds, and etc. The data can be retrieved whenever required. On the other hand, a human being can retain only relevant information, that like we will retain a limited amount of information in our memory, but computer keeps a track of all the documents and all the files that we used to keep in the computer. So that means the storage capacity of computer is much more reliable than as compared to human beings. Versatility, a computer can perform various types of jobs at a time. For instance, one can enjoy listening to songs at the same time he or she can do another work on the computer. Like suppose so we people are working on internet, and alike with the internet we can also hear the songs. So computer provides versatility. All right, reduction in manpower. Computer has helped the entrepreneurs, means the businessmen, to become more efficient. As a result, fewer people are required to do the same job. We can also see this bank, industries, and in almost all government and private sector offices. That means manpower has been reduced. The workload on the man has been reduced to much extent with the evaluation of computers. And last but not the least, reduction in paperwork. With the use of computers, a large number of paper wastage can be prevented in any organization. In spite of doing manual work, people are working on computer. This helps in the reduction of paperwork and also the helps in reduction of doing the work manually. Apart from the features, or we can say strength of the computer, there are some limitations of the computer also, like limited ability to think. Yes, computer cannot think of its own. It's a machine. We people make the computer do work. Although with the advent of artificial intelligence, computer now have the ability to take decisions to some extent on their own. As compared to human intelligence, computers still have a long way to go. As far as the scope of AI is concerned, it is yet debatable and limited. Computers still cannot fully think and decide like humans do. That means computer cannot take decisions of their own. Dependence on power. A computer is an electronic machine and thus it depends on power that makes it costly. We people do not require any power, despite of being eating a food, but computers require a lot of power that makes it more costly. And one of the major limitation of computer is this: computer have zero IQ. That means your computer do not have any IQ level. All right, children. Now let us discuss applications of computers. The invention of computers has led to advancement in science and technology. Life has become more efficient with the use of computers in our day-to-day life. Some computers are used in almost each and every era of the each and every field of the life. Either we talk about military or banks or research and education, media and communication, criminal identification, law enforcement, edutainment, business and animation and films. Each and every field is totally controlled by computer system nowadays. I hope you can go through these applications yourself. Now let us discuss about our computer system. A computer system can be considered as a combination of hardware and software which process data to convert it into meaningful information. Now there are two terms, one is hardware and one is software. Hardware refers to all the parts that we can see or touch. That means all the main parts of the computer system that is observable and that we can feel or touch is known as hardware. For example, keyboard, monitor, CPU, mouse. These all components of computer system are considered as a category of hardware. The next term is software. Software we can say is a running programs, or we can say is a set of programs that we can see inside a hardware. For example, whatever instructions or whatever commands we are giving to the computer, they comes under the category of software. Softwares are of two types: system softwares and application softwares. System softwares are the software that is used for, or that is basically designed for the system only, and application software are the software that is designed for the humans to complete their task. Firstly, we will talk about system software. One of the major system software is operating system. Operating system, yes, is a main system of a computer, or we can say it is a driver of a computer system. Without operating system, a computer will start, but it will not allow the users to work. One of the best example of operating system is Windows. Whenever we open a laptop or a computer, the first screen that we see on a computer is a Windows 7 or whatever window we have installed in our computer system. So that window is operating system. And that operating system is responsible for performing all the major operations of a computer. All the starting ending process, how to start, how to shut down the graphics, and all the things that are you see inside a computer system is totally controlled by operating system. That's why we consider the operating system as a driver. Operating system is the most important software on the computer. Every general purpose computer needs an operating system to run applications and program. If I talk about application softwares, then they will come like MS Word, MS Excel. They all are application software. That means application means that we are using these software for doing a specific type of work. For example, MS Paint, we are using this software to do the to perform only painting. Like MS Word, we are using this software to perform editing in the documents. So these are all software that we are using for individual purpose, comes under the category of application software. Now let us discuss some functions of a computer. Actually, computer works in a four-way process. It takes input, it processes the input, and stores the data and give the desired output. This is also known as IPO cycle. The basic organization of computer involves three parts: input unit, CPU, and output unit for performing different functions. Input unit is formed by attaching one or more input devices to a computer. Central processing unit is a main unit of a computer. It controls all the internal and external devices of a computer and performs arithmetic and logical operations. Arithmetic operations are known as all the mathematical operations, and whereas logical operations are the operations that are based on decision making. Output device unit and output unit is formed by the attachment of the output devices. I hope you must know the difference between the input and output devices. Input unit are that keyboard, or you can say mouse, and output units are monitor and printer. Now let's discuss CPU and its components. Here we have given a basic organization of computer in the form of a block diagram. We just go through this diagram. In this diagram they have shown input unit, output unit, central processing unit. Under central processing unit they have shown control unit, ALU, arithmetic logical unit, and MU, memory unit. And the last they have shown secondary storage devices by these arrows they have shown that white arrows are showing the flow of data and the flow of instructions. All right, so we will discuss CPU and its components. Firstly, the main component of the CPU is memory unit. Memory unit is a proper storage, or we can say is an area where all the memory operations are being performed. That means all the data that is stored by a computer is be kept in the memory unit. Arithmetic and logical unit are responsible or are helpful in performing all the mathematical operations and all the logical operations in a computer. Control unit controls all the functions of a computer system. That means how the computer start, when the computer will start, these all operations are controlled by control unit. These three units are in the interior of CPU. All right, as it can be clearly seen in the diagram. This is most important diagram, children. You just go through this diagram by yourself. All right. Now it's the time to discuss the components in detail. First of all, we will discuss memory unit. Memory unit is the principal storage of a computer. It stores both data and instructions. The data and instructions can also be stored permanently in the unit so that they are available whenever required. Computer memory is classified into two categories: internal and external memory. Internal memory includes RAM and ROM. RAM is a type of computer internal memory that can be accessed randomly whatever information we enter into the computer goes into RAM and remains there as long as we are working on an application. It's a volatile memory as data and instructions are stored temporarily during its processing only. In RAM, when the data, or we can say the stuff, whatever we are working on a computer system, it will be stored in RAM unless and until we just close the computer. As soon as we shut down the computer system, the data stored in the RAM will be erased. There are certain types of RAM, the DRAM, SRAM, SDRAM, and DDR. You just go through these points yourself. The next one is ROM. ROM stands for read-only memory. It's a non-volatile, or we can say it's a permanent type of memory. That means whatever we enter inside the ROM, it will remain forever in the computer unless or until we themselves delete it. Alright, this is the main difference between RAM and ROM. In RAM, the data will be deleted as soon as the computer will be turned off. Whereas in ROM, the data will remain permanently inside the computer system or inside computer memory unless or until we ourselves delete the data. Certain types of ROMs include PROM, EEPROM, flash memory, and masked ROM. Let us discuss types of ROM. PROM, programmable read-only memory. EPROM, erasable programmable read-only memory. EEPROM, electronically erasable programmable read-only memory. Flash memory, and masked ROM. Now just discuss cache memory. Cache, pronounced as cache, not that one cache. All right. Memory is a special high-speed memory that is also a type of physical memory which can either be inserted on a motherboard. Where is motherboard? It is inside the CPU. All right, or made by a part of the CPU. The CPU uses cache memory to store instructions that are repeatedly required to run programs, improving the overall system required. That means cache is responsible for storing the instructions that are required repeatedly again and again by the system. The advantage of cache memory is that the CPU does not have the use to the system bus of motherboard for data transfer, and thus it makes the processing speed much faster. We can say the main advantage of cache memory is that the CPU does not have to use the system bus again and again. In spite of using the system bus or motherboard, it takes the required instructions from the cache memory. It will save the time and make the processing speed much faster. Cache is much more expensive than RAM, but it is well worth getting a CPU and motherboard with inbuilt cache memory in order to maximize the system performance. External memory. External memory is also known as auxiliary memory or secondary memory. It is needed since the main memory is temporary, expensive, and insufficient to store a huge amount of data. Or in simple words, we can say that in a mobile phone, two types of memory we are having. One is the phone memory, and one is the we can say secondary, or we can say memory card. The memory that is held by a memory card. So that memory card is the external memory that we are required when the internal or the main memory of the phone is insufficient. Whenever required, the data for processing gets transferred from the secondary memory to the primary memory. Or as we can see that in mobile phone also we can transfer the data from the secondary memory to the primary memory. That means we can transfer the data of a memory card to the phone memory. Like we have units in mathematics, like this we are having units of memory also in computer system. There are certain units that we are having in computer system. One of the smallest unit is bit, and which 1 byte is equals to 8 bits. So here they have given a table of the units. You just go through this table. Nibble is the unit group of 4 bits. I told you 1 byte is equals to 8 bits. 1 byte is equals to 8 bits. So byte is equals to group of 8 bits. Kilobyte, 1 kilobyte is equals to 1024 bytes. Megabyte is equals to 1024 kilobytes. Alright, so this table is important. Just go through this table. Now let's talk about ALU, the next component of CPU. Arithmetic logical unit is the component of CPU which performs the arithmetic and logical operations on the operands. Operands are the, you can say, operators on which we perform calculations. The arithmetic operators are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. As I told you that arithmetic logical unit is responsible for performing all the mathematical related tasks. Now the next is control unit. Control unit controls the operation of every other component of a computer system. It also controls the data of transfer and instructions among various parts of a computer. In simple words, we can say that control unit is responsible how the data will transfer to and from a primary memory to a secondary memory, or from how the instructions will carry out in a computer system. All these operations are controlled by control unit. Now let's discuss the type of computers based on operation. Computers comes in a variety of designs. Here they have given a chart in which they have showing the types of computers: analog computer, digital computers, and hybrid computers. Analog computers, these computers can perform numerous mathematical operations simultaneously. That means analog computers are basically designed to perform mathematical operations at a one time by manipulating and processing the data which we provide as input, such as weight, temperature, voltage, etc. Digital computers. A digital computer works on the principle of binary digit system. Binary means 0 and 1. So by counting, comparing, and manipulating these digits, a digital computer can perform complex tasks. Digital computers are further classified as special purpose and general purpose computers. A special purpose computer is that which is used for specific applications like ATMs, programmable washing machines, and etc. General purpose computers are used for different types of applications. They can store different programs and do the jobs according to the instructions. The third category is hybrid computers. Hybrid computer is a perfect combination of the analog and digital computer. It accepts analog signals, converts them to digital, and processes them into digital form. There is another categorization of computers based on configuration, means based on storage. We also categorize the computers. In which we have considered microcomputers, mini computers, mainframe, and supercomputers. Let's discuss microcomputers. Students, just keep this in your mind. The first classification of computers was based on operation, that means based on their working. The second one is the based on configuration, that means it is based on their storage, or we can say it is based on their size. So let's discuss microcomputers. Microcomputers are also known as personal computers or simply PCs. These type of computers use a microprocessor. They cost less and are very small in size. Laptop computers, I hope this is you have seen in your homes also, and this is quite much familiar term for you. A laptop is a portable computer. We calling it laptop because we can keep this computer in our lap. Notebook computer, it is extremely lightweight personal computer. It weighs around 5 to 6 pounds. Tablet PC, a tablet PC looks like similar to a laptop. Handheld computer, the smallest computer is a handheld computer, also personal digital assistant. It is used for scheduling appointments. Basically, this type of computer is used in business field. Embedded system, it is specialized computer system. It is a part of larger systems or machines. Virtually very electronic device. Every electronic device which is designed and manufactured today has embedded system. The second category is mini computers. These computers are bigger in size. Student, don't go on the name. You just follow the content, because mini, the name is mini but the size is big. These computers are bigger in size, have higher processing speed, and are costlier than microcomputers. The third one is mainframe computers. These computers are larger than mini computers. A mainframe computer processes data at a very high speed, which is measured in millions of instructions per second. The last one is supercomputers, and the most important computer. They are the largest computers. They are the most powerful, the most expensive, and the fastest computers in the world. They are capable of processing trillions of instructions per second. That means in 1 second they can perform trillions, means millions, billions, and trillions of instructions in per second. Basically, these types of computers we are using for scientific researches and all. Computer performance. It is very important that whatever computing device we use works in an efficient manner and in very fast. A few things which affect the overall performance of a computer are listed below. CPU speed. CPU speed, actually the CPU's clock speed is measured in hertz. It is also called the clock rate. The speed is a measure of how many clock cycles a CPU can perform per second. The higher speed means faster task performance of a CPU, like complex calculations or moving data from to the RAM. RAM, it is amount of RAM in large enough to hold information in it. This may result in faster performance. Hard disk, the size and speed of the hard disk is also crucial for a computing device. The faster the speed, the better will be the performance. Last the topic but not the least, an overview of communication technologies. These are the technologies that we are using nowadays in our daily life. Email, I hope this term is familiar to you. Email is a, you can say, like electronic type of messages that is transferred over internet. Text messaging, you people have used this text messaging also, that we can say multimedia messages and short text messages. Chat, WhatsApp chat, video conferencing, like we are having a video call or we have a video chat on WhatsApp. Blogs, blog is a new term for you. Actually, blog is a group of certain persons in which we share our thoughts. One of the major example of blog is Twitter. Nowadays many of the people are using Twitter. Wikis, that is Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a you can say integrated dictionary that gives you a complete description of the things. News groups, a news group is a discussion platform about a particular subject. And document and calendar sharing services. These are many collaboration tools available on internet which help the user to create, share, and modify their calendars. So children, till here we have completed our with lesson number 1. I am giving you with some solved questions of this chapter, and the notes of the chapter I will soon update in my next video. Till then, you just go through this chapter and you have a look on the solved theory as well as multiple choice questions. They will add or they will provide a aid in your study, and just wait for my next video in which I am going to share with the unsolved questions of these chapter. All right, children, till then you just stay safe at your home, and goodbye.